struggled to fill an entire evening of choreography. So I just started to think about what are all the creative solutions to this? How can I, invite an entire audience to a 15 to 20 minute work of dance? And I had a really great meeting with the curator of Dance Makers, Amelia Earhart. She came to Winnipeg and we had a really great time with her the week that she was here, just kind of immersing herself in the Winnipeg dance community. And she said, the thing that Winnipeg is missing from her observation is a presentation platform. It's like local independent artists to have a place to come together and present their work. So this light bulb went off and I thought, well, I could do that. So I went to Hillary and I said, do you want to do this with me? And my brain was only sort of working in these like one-offs, and Hillary said, well, why don't we do a series? Why doesn't it happen every 6 months? And I thought, brilliant. So yeah, it was a solution for me to be able to show my own choreography and then have other artists share the stage with me. For now, we're definitely focusing on Art Holm as being performance. So anything that's live performance can be abstract or abstract music, abstract sound, experimental theater. So we have no sort of formal way in our curation. We don't have like a formula yet. We don't even have, a process for artists to submit applications or anything like that. It's so just forming that at this point we kind of just have our pulse on performance in Winnipeg.
I mean, I think this kind of format is the future of performance, and especially for people that are independent choreographers and dancers. I just feel like the days of the big theater show that's, an hour and a half long where you just present one or two artists is just kind of seeing, well, I mean, it still exists and there's still a great place for that, but I think for us it's just too difficult. It's too expensive to rent the theaters, just to fund our time and our dancers for those kinds of massive shows. Just, you need a lot of funding. So small work and collaborative work is kind of just where things are naturally headed, I think.
We'll make an ocean soup. Too many cooks in the kitchen, another scoop. I've mostly sort of stopped performing. I don't think an old white guy walking around stage yelling into a mic is really interesting or worthy of anyone's attention or my time, and so these sorts of shows are the only things that I'm really interested in being a part of, where I can sit and have an audience and do something different.
In the Exchange District, you've got lots of artist studios, you've got presentation spaces, galleries, people who work in the arts, people you can work with. And that was something that I think is a very special strength of the city. And also, it is friendly Manitoba. Like, people are really weirdly friendly here, and it can take a little bit of getting used to. I remember calling my mum and being like, Mum, everyone's really friendly. Like, what should I do with this? Go with it, darling. Go with it. So, yeah, and you know what though, in Toronto, I know it's got a bit of a rep, but whenever I've had experiences with arts organisations there, I've always felt really supported. And Hub 14, it was like a little slice of Winnipeg. People met me, they had a good turnout for the showing, they were checking in on me, wanted to introduce me to their scene. So I think artists are just excited to work with each other, I think, and introduce each other to their networks and see what each other are doing. So I think there's more similarities than we think.
It's so great for me that it happens every 6 months, because as soon as one ends, we're already looking at the next. We were really fortunate to get funding from the Canada Council for the Arts this time. The first one was supported by Winnipeg Arts Council. It ended up shifting. It was just going to be an Alex show, and then when the funding came in, I said, is it okay if we use it for this? So it's kind of been morphing, but yeah, I definitely want to see it happen every 6 months for a while. I don't know, 5 years for now, just start with that. And I'm curious to see how it grows.
Right in front of the pizza people eating their lunch, they walk, as we bust and untie the knot.
Holy fuck, I hate the way that you hold your napkin. Whoa!
What we love is that it's not in a traditional theater, and I think mainly just because I've been doing that with my own work for a while now. So I love when the space is intimate so that every audience member is in the first row. There's just something really interesting that happens with the performers and the audience in that sense. So, you know, currently it's usually 3 nights, 30 people per night. So it's very small in a sense. So I'm curious, you know, in my head for it to grow, I would want it to stay in these unconventional spaces with small audience, but perhaps 5 nights in a row or 10 nights in a row. Something that you can do in the Fringe Festival, but most dance performances, you only get, say, a 3-night run, which it's very interesting how the work transforms over more performances.
Long time to break down, turn into fish food, it's unsafe now. This is a fucking takedown.